flies right out of my pants. Don't you know I got a little secret? It's the ace of hearts up my sleeve. And when I get home to my honey, she give me love like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, they call me Mr. Lucky, and I thank my stars above. You can call me Mr. Lucky, 'cause I'm lucky in love. When I'm walking through my neighborhood, everybody knows I'm feeling good. See me smiling from my head to my feet. They say, ain't that Mr. Lucky coming down the street? Hey, that's me. I'm Mr. Lucky when you kiss my lips, when you touch me with your fingertips. I'm Mr. Lucky when you hold me tight. I'm Mr. Lucky when we kiss goodnight. Baby, they call me Mr. Lucky, and I thank my stars above. You can call me Mr. Lucky, 'cause I'm lucky in love. Call me Mr. Lucky, and I thank my stars above. You can call me Mr. Lucky, 'cause I'm lucky in love. Call me Mr. Lucky in love. Call me Mr. Lucky in love. You know that's right.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What's shaking on your Friday night? Boy, you know how I love these Friday night shows. Can't get enough of them. Yeehaw. Let's see here. I don't know even where to start. We're open on Friday here. 972-994-6822 is the number to call with the phrase that pays. I got to check my audio real quick, fast, and in a hurry. And no, I think we're good. All right, everything's great. Let's see. If you would like to buy some Christmas merchandise for yourself, doggone it, hey, Monday I'll have pictures of all the merchandise for you so you can actually see it. Won't that be a treat? Or whatever. And then also, I don't want to stress this too hard, but we kind of like to make a little dough on this endeavor. So the way you can do that is, it's in the scroll and in the description on YouTube, paypal.me/Tom Gully Show, and your tips will be highly appreciated. Trust me. InfoWars here and says, that was a Mr. Burger style freakout. I'm digging the later streams lately too. Glad I can catch one. Thank you, InfoWar. We got to get a regular time for this sucker. I am probably too deferential to my friends in the Dabbleverse, and I don't want to step on any toes and that sort of thing. But we just got to pick a time and do it, and apologize to people, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know nothing about nothing. And, that's where I'm sticking on that story. And I, in fact, don't have the script for the show up quite yet. Here it is. And we'll get it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We got it. There it is. I'll tell you. It's always the second one there. Boom, bang, bing. And how you doing on your Friday night? As you know, the storied history of the Tom Gully Show is, well, it's pretty much festooned with the fact that I don't like doing shows on Friday. I don't think anybody else likes the Friday shows. Frankly, Monday through Friday ain't doing so good for us here. So Why would Friday be any different? Let's try to get this done as quickly as possible. We can get you to Uncle Phil's program. Don't want to step on any toes there. But again, 972-994-6822 is the number. That's a very nearby aircraft. We'll get you up to date with everything, hopefully, before good old Uncle Phil. However, let me tell you about the Nutty Putty Cave tragedy. Oh boy. Now, I am on record as being against people doing stupid things in nature. I'm on record. However, I'm also on record as enjoying making fun of them. So do what you will with that information. This caving thing, when people go caving, is probably the dumbest thing in the world you can do, amongst many dumb things. You are in a cave, you're underground, it's either super cold or super hot, it's super muddy, it's super wet, and caves were not built to accommodate the human body in all cases. And this little story should have been done around Halloween, because it is terrifying and awful, and hopefully you'll appreciate it as much as I do. It all happened on November 24th, back there in 2009, when a man named John Jones, generic name, unique experience, had grown up with extensive caving experiences in his childhood, when his father would take him and his brother on caving trips all throughout the state of Utah. The 26-year-old was actually, at the time, studying to become a pediatric cardiologist. That means he works on little children's hearts, okay? And he was already a father. He had one child and a second on the way. He seemingly had everything to live for. Got me? But then he decided to go down into the Nutty Putty Cave. Contemplate that for a second. I forgot to put my ring on. Hold on.
Must have the ring, me precious, me precious, me precious, must have the ring.
Anyway, he decided to go down into the Nutty Putty Cave, and that's what it looks like right there. That's the cave diagram. Does it look straight? Does it look like there's a lot of open places in it? Well, if it does, I got a story for you. He and his brother Josh decided they wanted to relive those childhood experiences of going down into these caves. So, at 8 p.m. on the fateful evening, they greeted the front of the cave, which is actually behind me here in this picture. I see, turn to the side or move over a little. No, I guess I have to, forget it. This is actually the entrance to the cave right here. It probably doesn't look like anything you'd want to go down into, but that's when they got there. 9 of their friends went with them. And that's a very large group to go caving together. Okay, and they made their way into the Nutty Putty. The first hour was relatively unremarkable. Okay, they traversed easy caving into the largest room in the cave, called the Big Slide. And it was at this point that John and Josh decided that they, with 2 other people, would fatefully take on the Nutty Putty's biggest challenge. And that was a passage called the Birth Canal. It was a very narrow, very difficult passage that would lead to a large room. John led the way, working his way forward, but he was unable to see this large room. Moving ahead inch by uncomfortable inch, okay? This is, you're crawling on your stomach. Your feet can hardly get through. It's narrow. That passage did not open into a large room. Instead, the passageway made a very sharp downward turn. Very sharp. Okay? Hey, Rumpled Trenchcoats here, a Columbo podcast. Caving equals How can I put myself in completely unnecessary mortal danger? Rumpled Trenchcoat, you and I are kindred spirits in that regard. So he's pointing straight down, and that meant he couldn't turn back on his own. He was trapped in a crevice that was only 10 inches by 18 inches. Okay? 10 inches by 18 inches. Yeah. After this sharp downward turn, it didn't thwart John. He continued forward. And seeing that the tunnel got a little wider at the bottom, he kept going forward. But by this time, it was way, way, way too late. Way too late. This is how narrow it is inside. This is the actual cave. That's how narrow it is. By the way, these pictures were taken before or during this incident for reasons I'll tell you about later. John had sealed his fate about 50 feet earlier. Apparently, he had accidentally turned into a canal called the Scout Eater. Not a great name, appropriately, because that was not a great place to be. This led him to another passageway called Ed's Push. And this is where John kept moving ahead until he couldn't move forward anymore. And at this point, he was in a fissure that went straight down. So John was pointed headfirst straight down. That meant he could not turn back on his own. He was trapped in that 10 by 18 inch crevasse and completely stuck, trapped 100 feet below the ground. Good times, can you dig it? His brother Josh was the first one to find John. Josh tried to pull him up, but only managed to get him out a few inches. And when he released him, he horrifyingly slid back even deeper into the crevasse. Only his ankles were free, and he completely and totally was stuck at this point, upside down in an impossibly tight space. Well, Josh knew he had to get help. That meant heading backwards. You can't turn around and go out head first. You have to go backwards. Backing up on your stomach at an upward angle. Okay? When he finally made it back to the entrance, exhausted, he got the others to call for help. Well, the first volunteer arrived at midnight, 4 hours later. John had been trapped there, cold, motionless, and the volunteer, a woman named Susan, was much smaller than John or Josh and reached him much, much, much quicker. John, in a huge understatement, told her he really, really wanted to get out. Okay, in the next few hours, dozens of rescuers made the scene, and I mean dozens. They really did pull out all the stops to try and get this man out. They fashioned a variety of plans. They even considered lubing the walls of the caves with vegetable oil. But they finally decided to use a rescue rope and a series of climbing cams to angle their way through the passage to reach John. Okay? But the narrowness of the opening where he was made it almost impossible, allowing for only a few inches of rock to be removed as they tried to even drill out around him. It was almost impossible to get to him. So they fashioned this pulley system that I just talked to you about. Hola, Mr. Gully, says Reverend Wild Bill. Hola. The good Reverend here with us this evening. That's always great. So they tried to get to him with these pulleys, okay? They had volunteers, emergency services, and a rescue helicopter available, but only one person could directly access John at a time, and John was in a bad, bad way. He was almost unable to breathe, and his heart was working double the normal rate to push his blood through his body up against gravity and the compression that he was under. He was ping-ponging between total calm and total panic. Eventually, they got a two-way radio and lowered it down to John. He could finally speak to his pregnant wife, who was understandably kind of freaking out, but attempting to comfort him, okay? It had now been 19 hours since John became trapped. 19 hours filled with the total inability to move, barely able to breathe, and in total darkness, not to mention constant body encapsulating cold. Okay? Now might be a good time to mention that if you'd like some Christmas holiday gifts, just go to the TomGullyShow.com. Go to the merchandise or store part of the drop-down menu, and there you'll see a wide variety of top-quality name brand items that kids love and parents celebrate. A focal point of praise and pleasure. And if you'd like to donate to the show directly, man, we could sure use the help. Just go to paypal.me/TomGullyShow, and I'll be more appreciative than you'll ever know. You can also subscribe to the program, share it with friends, say a kind word. I realize your reputation's on the line, and I'll do my best, but don't expect this to get any better. When the pulley system was put in place, and you see it there in the photo, an 8-man team, due to the various twists and turns of the cave, had began pulling in unison to get this man out. They had to stop all the time as John was experiencing excruciating pain with each pull. But although it was slow, tedious work, they managed to extricate him a little bit more with each pull. Now might be a good time to go over exactly what was happening here. Excuse me. You can kind of see it in this diagram, but you see John there to the lower right, and then you see how they really couldn't directly get to him, and how pulling him out, excuse me, at the angle that he was at was also difficult because he couldn't bend his knees, and between your feet and your knee, your legs are straight. So when you pull up, you can't really bend forward or back on that knee to get headed down the passage again. And you can see how the rescuers were at different angles trying to make those ropes work. So anyway, he's getting out a little more and a little more. Finally, John was able to make eye contact with the closest rescuer. He was able to see up the front of his body from upside down and actually look at another human being. Okay? His eyes apparently were getting very red, filling with blood, because he was upside down for 19 hours. And he stated that his legs were killing him. Obviously, lack of blood, compression, etc. But they were almost to get him out. And it was at this time that things got even worse. With a big pull, the entire team suddenly fell backwards and the rope became slack. The nearest rescuer was slammed in the face with something very hard, air filled with dust. The arch closest to John's legs had shattered, and the anchor bolt had come out and hit that rescuer in the face. So not only was the guy closest to him injured and nearly blinded, the rope was no longer anchored, and they could no longer pull him out. Even worse, John fell further into the crevice, deeper than ever before. All right? Chris Abels says, Tom, I always learn things from you. Thank you for the knowledge. Thank you, Chris Abels. Speaking of knowledge, if you'd like to donate to the program, paypal.me/Tom Gully Show. The heads of the program here have gotten with me and said, buddy, we're not making a penny on this damn thing. Shill your ass off. Well, that's what I'm doing today. By the way, if you haven't made plans already, watch the Replayables tonight on Shuli Network 2, I believe. And I don't know what time it's on tonight. It's either 9 or 10 o'clock, I believe. You'll have a hell of a good time. And they're going to be having a hell of a good time. So enjoy it. Enjoy it. Victor says, this is one of my worst nightmares. Me too, Victor. Me too. I can't imagine anything worse. Let's see here. Reverend Wild Bill says, if nothing else, he could say he finally found himself a tight hole. Well, he was married. He had the kid, and another one coming up. So, and Chris Abel's greeting the good Reverend Wild Bill. So, as we last left him, let's see here. Chris Abel says, thank you, Tom. I appreciate you, buddy. I will support your show and your stuff anytime I can. Victor says buried alive type stuff. Very definitely buried alive type stuff. As we last left our intrepid hero, he was upside down, even deeper than ever before. The injured rescuer, for those of you who speak English, had to switch places with another rescuer, and the second rescuer got stuck in that tight crevasse himself. So at this point, no one could make contact with John. Eventually, a medical professional got to John. And that's when John was finally pronounced dead. Midnight, November 25th, 2009, only 26 years old and in the middle of becoming a pediatric cardiac specialist. Nearly 140 rescuers had tried frantically for 27 hours to no avail. But the bad news just keeps on coming. It was determined that it would be impossible to remove John's body from the crevice ever. So the Nutty Putty cave became his tomb. The Nutty Putty cave was closed and has remained sealed ever since, with a plaque dedicated to John Jones at the entrance. So, you want to go caving? Good luck to you. I wouldn't do it for all the money. There's a guy in the Mammoth Caves, and man, if you've ever been driving through the Kentucky area, you'll see billboard after billboard about Mammoth Caves. There's a guy still down in there. They never got out, from like the 1920s. One of my goodest friends in the world, Wanda, is here. Tom Goulet, that's me, all day long. Wanda, if you'd like to donate, paypal.me/Tom Gully Show. Spread the word around that group of people I've provided so many hours of entertainment to. Oh, man, I don't know what's going on with my voice. Reverend My Bill says Betty won't be doing that anymore. No, sir. I don't think so. Rumpled Trenchcoat, Columbo podcast, another great show you need to listen to, says in another universe he goes golfing and saves a ton of 6 kids. Yes. Why would you do that? Where's the prize? It's cold down there. It's muddy. You get out and you're covered in mud and freezing. I just went down to a real dark place in the ground. Doesn't sound like glory to me. My good friend Hugh says, is this where Jimmy Dean got the idea for the song Big Bad John? At the bottom of this mine lies a big, big man. Big John. Wild Bill's giving me a call here. Let's see if we can get him on the line. Caller, you'll have to turn down your radio, caller.
I don't want to.
How you doing, Wild Bill? It's been a while. Good to hear from you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the reason why I was calling. So you're gonna have to get over. And it ain't no damn dadgum radio. It was there's a guy in the background named Tom Gully talking.
Have you ever done any? You ever done any caving, Wild Bill?
Yeah, I used to go spelunking all the time. Matter of fact, North Georgia is eat up with caves.
Yeah.
Having to do with part of it. Matter of fact, where I put it like this, I went in. Yeah, you're familiar with Georgia, that's right.
Yeah.
I went in at Cartersville at the saltpeter mines.
Okay.
And if followed correctly, those mines will go all the way to Chattanooga.
Well, you know, Wild Bill, first of all, I hope you didn't accidentally ingest any of that saltpeter. Second of all,
I don't know, but it never got hard again.
Second of all, a mine would probably be not as bad. I'm not saying it was easy or anything like that, but at least a mine has been dug in a certain way to allow people in and out of it. Some of these caves, though, they have water, unexpected flooded tunnels, all that kind of stuff.
I was going to say this is called a saltpeter mine. Well, actually, you should call it a saltpeter cave.
Okay.
Because it wasn't truly a mine.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, I called it a mud tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And there were sections that you actually, to get anywhere, you had to go from one section to another section. But in order to do that, you had to go through a hole in the wall, and in the middle of that hole in the wall, there was a pond that you had to go through.
Yeah.
Where water had collected. There was another place which I never went in. I found the back way to it, but there's one place that you could go into like a room, but you had to go down this hole, and it was a corkscrew. And if you were shorter, you were okay, but I was 6 foot. You would have had a hell of a time.
Yeah.
Because you got to go in feet first, and you got to kind of do a corkscrew, kind of snake your way through there. Sort of like that kind of reminded me of what you was talking about on that guy right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tried it once, got stuck. Luckily, I was able to get out pretty easy, and that way I never went back down there again. But oh yeah, I've been caving many a time.
Well, a couple quick things. First of all, Paused Up Patriots with us. Hello, Paz. Goat Scroat says mud tunnel is what I call my ex-wife. Ba-dum, psh. I'm here all night, folks. Tip your drinks and enjoy your waitresses. And then I'd like to show that I'm wearing my Capitol Reef National Park shirt in honor of the Nutty Putty in Utah and all that. But I just think, maybe for me, because I'm a big dude, going down in those caves, I've been to Mammoth Cave, but that's a tourist cave. They have railings and passageways that are gigantic, but there's still a dude down in there that they never could get out. And what happened to this guy is my greatest fear. There's another case in Utah, right near the campus of Brigham Young, where these kids went into a cave that has about a 15-foot submerged tunnel that was about as big in diameter as a refrigerator. And that would take you to a very small room. The problem being that these 4 kids went through the tunnel. They got through the tunnel okay. But then they got up into this little room, which is right next to where the water is. And so many people had gone through that cave that over the years, their respiration had drained that room of any oxygen. And it was mostly carbon dioxide. So the longer you stayed in that room, the less able you were to breathe. And then you had to swim back out. Well, on the swim back out, the first person, who was a girl, she didn't make it all the way and got stuck.
I did hear about this. Okay.
So when the other 3 went through the tunnel, you can't turn around in that tunnel. So they're underwater, out of breath, and so all 4 of them died. And when people start doing stuff like this, it's just, what are you doing?
I remember reading about that one. Where I didn't know about the room though, where it was just carbon dioxide and no oxygen. I didn't know about that.
There was a little oxygen. A little oxygen.
Right, a little. But I did know about them going into the room, into the little cave at a little beach, and then they go back out, and the first girl, she gets trapped. She can't go nowhere, which in turn then blocks the other 3, and they all 4 wind up drowning in the tunnel.
Exactly.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was up there where you were, though. Huh.
Well, it's way north of where I was at, but
well, when I say where you were at, I meant Utah.
Yeah, even the Nutty Putty was far away from where I was at, but even the name Nutty Putty just makes me think coated with that thick,
slimy mud,
sticky,
slimy clay.
Yeah, clay. It's just awful. So I would never.
You can't get no grip, no nothing, right?
Yeah. Now the Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, you are walking very comfortable. They've been having tours there forever. It's not a spelunking situation. There's a
but you got to remember, though, it was like that, though, before they set up the walkways and everything. That's what made Mammoth Cave so great, because it was such a big, huge cave with the huge cathedral ceiling and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And
Mammoth, I mean, they've also got the Tennessee area's also got the largest underwater lake cave in the United States, you know. They got it.
That Mammoth Cave's got a plate that a Civil War soldier had left in the cave that's got potatoes and some other things on it that got completely calcified by the water that's in the caves. And that's the other thing about the cave water. Now, some caves have springs in them and the water's fine to drink, but a lot of caves, the water is poisonous. It's awful because of the minerals that are there, how long it's been there, and stagnant, and all the rest of it. So it's just not a good place to be. I'm sorry.
Well, I know the East over here, well, actually the whole United States, if you finally, I mean, they're just now learning about it, but the whole United States is eat up with cave systems.
Oh, yeah.
And 90% of them are interlinked with each other.
Sure.
I mean, you might not be able to make it through it now, but there was once a passage that went through there, and it's enough that when they do the LiDAR, that it still picks it up, that it's connected to other passages. But, I mean, that's one thing that always fascinated me was just the caves. It was just like, I mean, they're beautiful, and it's just remarkable about what nature can do.
Yeah,
you know?
And it's also
you were talking about Mammoth. Another one that's real close too that you can walk through, which has a bunch of different formations and stuff. Is you've got to remember is Ruby Falls.
Ruby Falls, and then there's another one called
Tennessee at Lookout Mountain.
There's another one called Crystal Caverns. But if somebody
some in Alabama, I mean, they're everywhere.
You can just take pictures of those, and I'll look at the pictures. Thanks. But anyway, I got to get out of here pretty quick. But doggone it, Wild Bill.
I just wanted to jump on real quick and say I didn't get to talk to you. Well, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Hope you have a good holiday coming up, and yada 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 da da da. And have a nice one, Mr. Gully.
All right,
I'll catch you later.
We'll hear from you soon. Always good to hear from you, Wild Bill.
All right, bye-bye.
That is a good man. That's my buddy Wild Bill. So, the Dabbleverse, what went on today? Gosh, I don't know what went on in the Dabbleverse that much. I watched a little of Dabble Point. I think it was just rehashing a lot of the things that have been going on. But what is there to say? The guy's a loon. Kevin Brennan apparently is upset because people are giving him falsely high view counts. Nothing against Kevin Brennan, but let me get a little closer to the camera. If you'd like to give a fella some falsely high view counts, I'm just saying. I will accept monopoly money at this point. I got to make some jack on this thing before the end of the month, folks. That's all there is to it. It would be nice. It would just be nice. It'd just be nice. We usually sell a lot of clocks in our merchandise store. Normally at Christmas time is the time we, like most businesses, they sell the most merchandise during that time. And I can tell you right now, Monday, I will be featuring articles from our store, which you can get to at Tom Gully, rented lips, thetomgullyshow.com, and then go to the store section, or just go to paypal.me/Tom Gully Show. But phone lines are open at 972-994-6822. And, if you got any questions, throw them in the chat. Again, Friday shows, they're kind of hit or miss. People are doing things. Wild Bill, and he does know great quality merchandise. I do have to say, the folks at Cafe Press do make good things. We got shot glasses, we got pint glasses, we've got travel mugs, we've got t-shirts, long and short sleeved, variety of colors. Same for the sweatshirts and the hoodies, zippered and unzippered. What else we got in that damn thing? Shower curtain. Need a shower curtain? We got you covered. So check it out if you want to. The copy is also hilarious. It's just hilarious if you care. I normally wouldn't be shilling this hard, but I've run out of horrifying trapped under the earth stories to tell you about. Can you imagine that guy? He just thinks he's going out with his brother to relive some childhood caving experiences that they apparently did for years and years all over the state extremely safely. And he makes one wrong move and boom, he's upside down, and trapped in the cold. You know, can you imagine? Imagine you're doing a handstand, only your arms are at your sides. That's what he was doing. He was upside down like that. You're not getting out. Not going to happen. The Reverend Wild Bill says, I'm just waiting for the Tom Gully toilet paper. That would probably be a hot seller, especially if my face was on it. My good friend Stribbs is here. He says, H2BH, happy to be here. Also happy to be here, Stribbs. Thank you for coming along. My good friend Stribbs is quite the videographer. He's created many videos of me, which I am now going to choose to call tributes. Thank you. Search the internet for him. You'll have a good laugh at my expense. The Nutty Putty cave disaster, one of many. I could do a cave disaster story every week for probably 3 years and still not have run out of them. Second to only the mountain climbing disaster stories that I could do. Maybe we'll do some of that. Strib says, you were my muse, Tom. They were indeed tributes. Well, I do try to, please. Anyway, well known. We don't do too many Friday shows unless we have to, and this time we do have to. We got to get the word out. We got to get people. Yes, Wild Bill, we are going to do next week, and I think I'll just go ahead and do this on Monday. We're going to do the story of the steam-powered rocket. Now, some of you may be saying, well, what's wrong with making a steam-powered rocket? This rocket was supposed to go to the moon or outer space. It's powered by steam. I'll leave you with that, I guess. Well, yeah, that's what everybody says about that story. It's like, well, I don't know, you're going to be doing much of that. So anyway, please subscribe to the show. Please share the show. Do anything you can to help us out. We're going to keep chugging along as best we can. But I will just hope that everyone listening has a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous weekend and a really good time, and heads on over to Phil Elmore's Surviving the News. Watch that program. And the only other thing, I guess, that I can say is till next time, we'll see you next time.